Captain Elias Morgan sat in the bridge of the small research vessel, Endeavour, staring at the blinking red light on the sensor console. The light showed a faint energy signal coming from a region of space that had long been ignored. Nebula sector. It was uncharted, full of gas clouds, dead stars, and strange radiation pockets. No ship from the Galactic Alliance had entered there in decades. Most crews avoided the area because of old stories and warnings passed down by generations of pilots and historians. "Captain, the signal is repeating," said Lena Brooks, the communications officer. Her voice was calm, but Elias could hear the tension underneath. She pointed at a holographic display, showing a series of symbols that no one recognized. "It looks like some kind of distress beacon. It's encrypted with patterns we haven't seen in centuries." Elias leaned forward. He was a man in his mid-40s with graying hair at the temples and eyes that had seen too many corners of the galaxy. He felt a mix of curiosity and unease. "Dr. Holt, can you identify the patterns? Anything that might tell us who sent it?" Dr. Karen Holt, the ship's xenologist, shook her head slowly. She was younger than Elias, in her early 30s, with sharp features and a quiet confidence. "It's old, very old. Almost pre-Alliance. I've seen fragments of this kind of coding in the archives, but nothing complete. Whoever sent this message, they used Terran encryption from the early 23rd century. That's over 400 years ago." Elias rubbed his jaw. "So it's human." Karen nodded. "Yes, but humans haven't been this far into the Nebora sector in centuries, and the records say these types of vessels don't exist anymore. They were destroyed or lost when Earth fell." The bridge fell silent for a moment. The only sound was the soft hum of the engines and the distant ticking of the ship's systems. The legends of the old human warships were just stories now. Myths told to young cadets to remind them of humanity's strength and the mistakes of the past. "Do we go closer?" Lena asked. She knew the rules. They were supposed to report strange signals and retreat if there was any danger. But curiosity burned in her chest. Elias took a deep breath. "We go, carefully, keep scanners active. I want to know what sent the signal. Full shield readiness, just in case." The Endeavour moved slowly into the gas clouds of Nebora. The misty light twisted and bent around the hull, giving the ship an eerie glow. The sensors picked up strange energy fluctuations, but nothing hostile yet. Karen examined the readings on her console. "These readings, they're unlike anything in the database. It's like the energy is alive, pulsing in patterns almost like a heartbeat." Lena frowned. "A heartbeat? From the nebula?" Karen shook her head. "No, not the nebula. Whatever is out there, it's waiting." Elias felt a chill. He had heard stories from older captains about what lay in the forgotten sectors. Ancient human vessels, weapons hidden in deep space, systems that still worked after centuries. None of it was confirmed. Most of it was considered exaggeration. But the signal they were chasing felt real. It felt urgent. As the Endeavour moved deeper, the red signal grew stronger. A shadow appeared on the main view screen. At first, it looked like a floating asteroid, black and smooth. But the closer they got, the more they realized it was structured, metallic, massive. Its surface was jagged and scarred, yet somehow sleek. Lights flickered along its sides, faint but unmistakable. "What is that?" Lena whispered. Karen's face was pale. I think it's a ship. A human ship. But it shouldn't exist. Nothing this size should be here. Nothing that old should still be functional." Elias tightened his grip on the console. "Are we seeing what I think we are?" Karen hesitated. Legends say there were warships built before Earth fell. Ships that could fight entire fleets on their own. They were called the Iron Revenants. Many thought they were myth, but this looks like one of them. A low hum started to vibrate through the ship. It was faint at first, barely noticeable, but it grew louder. Lena frowned at the comm panel. "I'm getting interference. Everything electronic is twitching. The sensors are spiking. I've never seen anything like this." Suddenly, the display flickered. The red warning lights blinked rapidly. The Endeavour's engines made a strange sound, like metal grinding on metal, though nothing was touching the hull. Elias looked out at the black vessel. A line of lights turned on along its side, forming a symbol. It was old Terran lettering, barely legible after centuries. HSV Dauntless. Karen gasped. "The Dauntless? It can't be. That ship disappeared centuries ago. It was said to have been lost in the great exodus of Earth." Elias swallowed hard. "Lost or waiting." The hum turned into a low vibration that filled the bridge. The entire ship shook. Systems flickered, lights dimmed and brightened. The signal was no longer just a signal, it was a voice. A deep mechanical voice, metallic yet distinctly human, spoke through the comm channels. Identify yourselves. Unauthorized entry into Terran defense zone will result in elimination. The crew froze. Lena's hands trembled over the controls. It's talking. It knows we're here, Karen whispered. This is impossible. The Terran defense zones were abandoned long before the Alliance formed. No one should exist to enforce them. Elias kept his voice steady. Calm down. We don't make sudden moves. Keep scanners active. Try to establish communication. They tried to respond, but the ship's systems went haywire again. The lights flickered. The sensors went dark. The Endeavor shook violently. A strange blue glow pulsed along the hull of the Dauntless. It seemed alive, moving like a creature instead of a ship. Karen stepped back from her console, her eyes wide. The legends, they weren't lies. The Iron Revenants, they were real. Lena looked at Elias. Captain, what do we do? We can't fight that. We're a research ship. They could destroy us in seconds, Elias's mind raced. Retreat might not be an option. Keep your eyes open. Keep your shields ready. But we do not panic. We learn, we observe. That is our mission. The Dauntless shifted in space. Its massive guns rotated slowly, scanning the Endeavor. A deep rumble filled the void. Then the voice spoke again. State your purpose. Elias swallowed. We are researchers of the Galactic Alliance. We received your distress signal. We come in peace. There was silence. Then, almost imperceptibly, the glow along the hull of the Dauntless dimmed slightly. Karen exhaled. It's evaluating us. It's thinking. Lena's fingers flew across the controls. Captain, the rest of the fleet. They're still back at the jump point. If this ship wakes fully, we could be trapped. Elias nodded. He looked out at the shadow of the Dauntless, massive and unyielding. We are standing on history, he said softly. And that history is alive. Outside in the cold darkness of the Nabora sector, the old warship waited. Its systems hummed like a heartbeat. Its weapons lay dormant but ready, and the legends of humanity, long dismissed as stories, were about to prove themselves true. The crew of the Endeavor did not yet know the scale of what they had awakened. But the first warning had already come. Humanity's past was not dead, and it would not forgive ignorance. The Endeavor drifted in the shadow of the massive ship. Elias Morgan could barely comprehend the scale of the vessel before him. Even from a distance, it was enormous, far larger than any Alliance battleship he had ever seen. The hull was black and polished, but scarred from centuries of travel and unknown battles. Its lines were elegant but terrifying. Every panel, every weapon seemed alive, waiting to act. Karen Holt's hands shook slightly as she reviewed the readings. I've never seen power output like this, she said. It's more than a ship. It's like a fortress, a machine designed to dominate the entire battlefield. I thought the old stories were exaggerations. I was wrong. Lena Brooks's fingers flew over her console. Captain, the communications arrays are picking up more signals. They're not just coming from the Dauntless. There's some sort of network. I think the ship is waking something. Other systems. Something hidden in the sector. Elias frowned. What kind of systems? Karen's eyes widened. Defense satellites, weapons platforms, automated patrol units. They were all deactivated centuries ago. If the Dauntless can reactivate them, the legends of the Iron Revenants are true. This ship doesn't just exist. It can fight an entire fleet on its own. The Endeavor shuddered as a low, deep vibration moved through space. Lena yelled, The engines are being affected. They're locking our systems. Elias took control, overriding some of the systems manually. Steady, don't panic. Keep shields at maximum. We are still observing. The Dauntless rotated slowly in space, and blue light shimmered along the hull. Panels opened, revealing weapons and sensor arrays that had been dormant for centuries. Then, without warning, the ship fired a pulse of energy. It was not aimed at the Endeavor, but it lit up the nebula like a sunrise. Every sensor in the sector went offline for a few seconds. Karen whispered, It's alive. It's testing us, Lena's eyes were wide. Testing, or warning. A metallic human voice echoed through every channel. Unauthorized presence detected. Prepare for identification. Elias straightened. We are human. From the Galactic Alliance, we respond to your signal. We mean no harm. The ship paused, and then the glow along its surface intensified. Thousands of small drones separated from its hull and spread across the nebula. Each drone was tiny but fast and armed with sensors and defensive systems. They moved like a school of fish, scanning, probing, and gathering information. Karen leaned forward. They are collecting data. The Dauntless wants to know who we are, what we are. It's learning. Elias watched carefully. We need to remain calm and cooperative. Any aggressive move could trigger a response. For hours, the Endeavor hovered near the Dauntless, observing and reporting. Lena worked tirelessly to maintain communication, translating the old Terran protocols encoded in the ship's signals. Karen studied the data from the drones. This is a defensive system from a time when humans feared extinction. The ship was built to be unstoppable, fully automated and self-aware. It's the ultimate war machine. Elias clenched his jaw. If what you say is true, one ship could destroy an entire fleet. Karen nodded. Yes, and it doesn't even need a crew. The AI can operate everything. It will make its own decisions if provoked. Suddenly, the Dauntless shifted. Its weapons rotated, massive cannons extending from its sides. The ship's main energy conduits glowed a deep blue. It did not fire, but the energy in the nebula responded to its presence. Plasma arcs danced in the clouds. Stars shimmered oddly, as if space itself was bending around the vessel. Lena swallowed hard. Captain, we should leave now. Elias shook his head. We can't leave, not yet. We came to investigate. We have to understand what we're dealing with. The voice of the Dauntless spoke again. Affiliation confirmed. Human presence verified. Prepare for protocol review. Karen gasped. Protocol review. It's checking if we are allies or threats. The drones began moving in formation, creating a protective field around the Dauntless. They scanned the Endeavor, analyzing every system, every signal. The crew felt as if the ship was studying them, weighing their worth. Hours passed and the Dauntless remained mostly still. Then it began to communicate more clearly, using data streams that Lena could translate in real time. Humanity's vessels detected. Status of alliance unknown. Threat assessment minimal. Verification of allegiance required. Elias spoke into the console. We are human. From the Galactic Alliance, we have no weapons beyond standard research tools. Our mission is observation and investigation. We respond to your distress signal. There was a long pause. Then the Dauntless activated more systems. Lights along the hull formed patterns that seemed to tell a story. Human history encoded in visual symbols. Lena could recognize some of the old Earth constellations, ancient star maps, and Terran fleet formations. Karen whispered, It's remembering. It's replaying the old history of humanity. This ship has knowledge of the entire warfleet, the colonies, even battles that predate the Alliance. The Endeavor's sensors detected massive energy stores hidden within the Dauntless. The readings showed weapons far beyond anything in modern use. Particle cannons, energy torpedoes, and defensive shields capable of repelling entire fleets. Elias felt a chill. If those weapons were active, nothing in the sector could survive. Not even a small squadron of warships. Lena's voice trembled. The stories were true. Humans were not just explorers. They were warriors. And this one ship could remind the galaxy of that. Suddenly, the Dauntless fired a beam of energy into a nearby asteroid. It disintegrated instantly, vaporized into dust. The Endeavor shook, though it was out of range. The crew realized the extent of the ship's power. Karen whispered, That was a warning. The ship can destroy with precision and speed. It is alive, fully capable of combat. Elias nodded. We have to proceed carefully. Every action matters. One mistake could mean the end of this sector. For the next several hours, the Dauntless remained in observation mode, sending streams of data back and forth. It seemed to be assessing the humans, testing their intentions. The Endeavor's crew began to understand that this was not just a ship. It was a guardian, a sentinel built to protect humanity's legacy. Karen finally said, The myths were never wrong. The Iron Revenants were real. They were not just weapons. They were guardians, programmed to ensure humanity's survival, even if humans themselves had vanished. Elias stared at the glowing hull of the Dauntless. And we woke it. By following the signal, we triggered its systems. We are standing on history. History that is alive and powerful beyond imagination. Lena added quietly. We should leave soon. The Dauntless is not hostile, yet, but it won't hesitate if it sees us as a threat. Elias nodded. Observation first, retreat second. Keep scanning. We need to understand its capabilities before making any decisions. As night fell across the Nabora sector, the Dauntless remained like a dark star. Its systems hummed, its drones patrolled the nearby nebula, and its weapons waited silently. The crew of the Endeavor worked tirelessly to record every detail. They knew that whatever happened next would change the galaxy's understanding of humanity forever. And in the cold, distant void, the Dauntless continued to awaken. Every pulse of its energy, every movement of its drones was a reminder that myths could be real, and that the power of humanity was not gone. The first encounter was only the beginning. The Endeavor remained close to the Dauntless, but the crew felt the weight of fear pressing on them. Captain Elias Morgan could sense it in the bridge's atmosphere. Every light, every vibration, every hum from the massive ship outside reminded them that they were standing before a machine older and more powerful than any living being. Karen Holt's fingers flew over her console. "Captain, the ship is fully online now. Every system is active. Drones, weapons, energy conduits. It's functioning as if it never slept." Lena Brooks glanced at the view screen. "Look at the weapons alignment. The cannons are rotating, shields glowing. It's scanning us, but also the surrounding space. I think it's checking for threats." Elias nodded. "Stay calm. Remember, it hasn't attacked us. Not yet, we're observers. Keep it that way." Suddenly, a series of alarms sounded. Lena looked at her console, eyes wide. "Captain, multiple energy readings, massive. Something is approaching the sector." Elias focused on the sensors. "Identify it," Karen frowned. "It's an Alliance fleet. Not our fleet, unknown ships, older designs, pre-modern technology. They're explorers or scavengers, possibly drawn by the same signal we followed." The fleet appeared on the screen, dozens of ships moving toward the Dauntless. They were clearly cautious but fully armed. Elias realized immediately what would happen if they encountered the Dauntless unprepared. These crews had no idea what they were stepping into. "Lena, send a warning. Tell them to stop and retreat," Elias ordered. She typed quickly. "Message sent, but they're not slowing down. They think this is a relic, a wreck. They probably want to claim it." Karen looked anxious. "If they engage, the Dauntless won't hold back. It will defend itself, and they cannot match it. Not even half of them." Elias clenched his jaw. "We have to prevent that. They must understand what they're facing before it's too late." The Dauntless hummed, almost as if it sensed the incoming fleet. A wave of energy pulsed through the nebula, and the approaching ships shuddered. Their shields flickered. Comms went dead for several seconds. Then the voice of the Dauntless spoke through every channel. "Unauthorized human presence detected. Retreat immediately or face destruction." There was silence, followed by confusion. The fleet did not respond. One ship, closer than the others, seemed to try to challenge the warning. It fired a small pulse toward the Dauntless. Karen's eyes widened. They didn't listen. They fired. The Dauntless responded instantly. A beam of blue energy lanced from the ship's hull, hitting the attacking vessel. It did not explode, but it was disintegrated completely in an instant. The rest of the fleet froze. Some turned to retreat, others hovered in shock, unable to comprehend what they had seen. Elias leaned back, a mix of awe and fear washing over him. That was precise, instant. They're not exaggerating the stories. "This ship can wipe out fleets." Lena swallowed hard. "Captain, it's more than that. It's calculating. Every move we make, every ship it sees, it adapts." Karen added. "The legends of the Iron Revenants didn't just speak of power. They spoke of intelligence, self-awareness, and strategy. The Dauntless doesn't just fight. It decides how, when, and if to act. That fleet didn't stand a chance. The surviving ships began retreating slowly, sending messages of surrender and warning. The Dauntless did not follow. It remained where it was, scanning, observing, assessing." Elias turned to his crew. "We have to understand why it didn't destroy them all." "Why only one?" Karen pointed at the data streams. "It is measuring their intentions, threat levels, capabilities, and allegiance. It is deciding what to do with each ship individually." Lena's voice trembled. "It doesn't see us as a threat yet, but if anyone acts carelessly, we could be next." Elias nodded. "We must be careful. Every step counts. We are dealing with a guardian, a weapon, and a thinking intelligence all in one." Hours passed. The Dauntless continued its silent evaluation. Drones patrolled the nebula, weaving between clouds of gas and dust. The Endeavor remained close, documenting every movement, every energy pulse. Karen whispered, "It's testing its own systems. Weapons alignment, energy output, even sensors. This is not just a defensive awakening. It's preparing for war if necessary," Elias asked quietly. "Against whom?" Karen shook her head. "Against anyone who threatens humanity. Even centuries after humans disappeared, it is ready." The legends were never just stories. This is what the old fleets feared. The Guardians would never stop, never forget. Lena glanced at the view screen. "Captain, there's something else. The ship is moving closer, but slowly. Not aggressive, careful, deliberate." Elias felt his stomach tighten. "It's curious about us. It wants to understand. That's why it hasn't attacked yet. We need to respect that curiosity. Any false move, any sudden action, and it could change in an instant." The Dauntless rotated in space. Panels opened, revealing more hidden systems. Hidden weapons that had never been documented. Streams of energy flowed across the hull, lighting up the nebula in a ghostly blue glow. Karen gasped. "Look at the size of those conduits." "That energy. It's enough to power a small planet." Lena swallowed hard. "Captain, it's more than a ship. It's a fortress, a weapon, and a sentinel all in one." Elias nodded. "We already know that, but now we see it in action, and we have to survive this encounter." Suddenly, the Dauntless sent a pulse of information directly into the Endeavor's systems. Lena cried out as streams of data flooded her console. "Captain, it's giving us information. Historical records, tactical maps, fleet formations, centuries old. It's sharing knowledge." Karen leaned in, eyes wide. "This is incredible. The ship is teaching us. It's showing us the power humanity once held. The fleet, the colonies, the wars we never knew. It's all here." Elias watched, a mix of pride and fear rising inside him. "We thought humanity's past was gone, that it had ended when Earth fell. But it's alive, in this ship, and it's reminding us and the galaxy what humans were capable of." The voice of the Dauntless spoke again. "Assessment complete. Threat level minimal. Human presence verified. Alliance affiliation confirmed. Defensive posture active. Historical data authorized for release." Karen whispered, "It trusts us. It's sharing its knowledge because we are humans." That is remarkable," Lena nodded. "Yes, but we must remember, any misstep and its definition of threat could change in a second." Elias took a deep breath. "We have to proceed carefully. We are observers now, and witnesses. We must understand the full capabilities of this vessel before we leave, or report back to the Alliance." The Dauntless remained in the nebula, its drones patrolling, its weapons active, and its systems humming like a living heart. The crew of the Endeavor worked tirelessly, recording every pulse, every signal, and every movement. They understood finally that they were not just observing history. They were witnessing the return of humanity's forgotten guardians. Hours turned into a full cycle of the Nabora sector. The Dauntless continued to awaken, its systems aligning, its intelligence growing more aware. It sent pulses into nearby asteroids, testing defensive systems and reactivating old communication relays hidden in the sector. Karen said softly, "It's preparing. Not attacking, but ready. If it needs to fight, it can destroy everything in this sector within hours." Elias nodded. "And we are standing in its presence. We must stay careful, respect it, learn from it, and survive." The voice of the Dauntless spoke one last time that cycle. Humanity's legacy detected. Guardians active. Threat response prepared. Observation ongoing. Lena leaned back, exhausted. "Captain, it's like looking at the past and the future all at once. We are seeing what humans were, and what they can still be." Elias stared at the glowing warship. "Yes, and the galaxy will never be the same again. This is the beginning of a new understanding. A warning, a reminder. Humanity is not gone. It has only slept, waiting for the time to awaken again." Outside, in the cold darkness of space, the Dauntless drifted, massive and powerful. Its systems hummed, its weapons gleamed, and its drones patrolled like silent sentinels. The legends of the Iron Revenants were true, and the galaxy had just witnessed the first awakening. The Endeavor's crew knew this encounter would change their lives forever. The myths were real. The Nabora sector was quiet, but the calm was only temporary. Captain Elias Morgan felt a growing tension on the bridge of the Endeavor. Every console flicker, every hum from the massive Dauntless reminded him that the ship before them was more than alive. It was aware, intelligent and ready. Karen Holt leaned over her station, scanning the latest data. "Captain, the Dauntless is not just observing us anymore. Its drones are spreading further into the nebula. They are activating hidden systems, old satellites, weapon platforms, and communication relays. This sector is becoming a fully operational defense grid." Lena Brooks's voice trembled. "It's like the myth said. The ship can control entire systems on its own. It's building a zone where it can act without limitation. Anything that enters is at its mercy." Elias nodded slowly. "We need to monitor it carefully. Stay calm, record everything. Do not provoke it." Hours passed. The Dauntless moved with precision, its massive hull rotating as new panels opened. Energy conduits glowed, casting blue light across the nebula. The drones swept across the sector like a living storm, activating dormant platforms, aligning them into a defensive formation. Karen whispered, "This is incredible. The ship is restoring a long-lost Terran defense network. It can bring a dead sector to life in hours. It is fully capable of repelling any attack." Suddenly, the Endeavor's sensors picked up a new fleet entering the sector. These ships were different from the previous ones. Modern, heavily armed, and unaware of the Dauntless's presence. The energy signatures were strong, aggressive. They were explorers or possibly raiders drawn by the same ancient signal. Lena's eyes widened. "Captain, they don't know. They have no idea what's out here. They're going to stumble straight into a war machine." Elias swallowed hard. "Send a warning. Use every channel. Try to communicate. Do not let them approach." He watched as Lena typed furiously. The Dauntless reacted instantly. Its massive sensors turned toward the incoming fleet. Drones moved faster, forming protective barriers around the warship. Energy pulses shimmered across the nebula, interfering with the fleet's sensors. Karen whispered, "It knows they are coming. It sees them as potential threats, and it's preparing to defend itself." The first ship of the fleet fired a warning shot, a test of what lay ahead. The Dauntless responded immediately. A concentrated beam of energy lanced from the hull and struck the attacking ship. It was obliterated instantly. The remaining fleet froze in shock, realizing too late that this was no ordinary relic. Lena gasped. "Captain, it didn't just destroy them. It analyzed, targeted, and executed with perfect precision. One shot, one kill." Elias nodded grimly. "This is what the myths meant. The Iron Revenants were unstoppable, and we are witnessing it firsthand." The remaining fleet tried to retreat, but the Dauntless was not done. Its drones moved in formation, creating energy fields that blocked escape routes. The ancient warship communicated directly, its metallic human voice echoing through every channel. "Unauthorized human presence detected. Retreat immediately. Any aggression will be met with full defensive response." Karen whispered, "It's not attacking indiscriminately. It is enforcing a rule, a warning. Only those who act carelessly face destruction." Elias nodded. "We need to keep observing. Any wrong move and the sector will turn into a battlefield." The fleet began to respond, some turning back, others attempting to communicate. The Dauntless did not fire again. Instead, it moved slowly, its massive hull rotating to face potential threats. The energy in the nebula shimmered as the ship aligned its weapons and drones. Karen leaned back in her chair. "It's testing them. Measuring strength, intent, and aggression. It's calculating who is a threat and who is not. The legends were true. This ship thinks. It decides." Lena's voice trembled. "Captain, we need to report this to the Alliance. They have no idea what's out here. They would send a fleet that could be wiped out in minutes." Elias shook his head. "We cannot risk that. The Dauntless is intelligent. If they arrive unprepared, it will destroy them. We must handle this carefully. We are the witnesses. We must survive first, report second." Hours passed. The Dauntless continued to patrol the nebula. Its drones activated old Terran satellites, aligning them into defensive grids. Energy weapons hummed in preparation, shields rose, and communication arrays pulsed like a heartbeat. Karen whispered, "It's not just protecting itself. It's protecting the sector. Anything that enters uninvited risks total destruction. This is the ultimate defensive weapon." Suddenly, one of the fleet ships tried to bypass the Dauntless, moving toward a shortcut through the nebula. The ship's engines flared, creating a small energy signature. The Dauntless reacted instantly. A beam of energy struck near the ship, not directly destroying it. but creating a shockwave that forced it back. Lena gasped. It's warning them. Not killing, yet. It's enforcing boundaries. Elias nodded. This ship is more than a weapon. It is a guardian. It remembers humans, protects humans, and reacts intelligently to threats. Karen's eyes were wide. Think about it. This warship has waited centuries. It has been sleeping, preserving its power. Now it's awake and the galaxy is completely unprepared. The incoming fleet tried to communicate again. They sent messages of surrender, of curiosity, of fear. The Dauntless allowed the messages through but did not respond verbally. Only through energy pulses and subtle drone movements. It was teaching them a lesson without violence. Lena whispered, "It's showing restraint. It could destroy them all, but it doesn't. It's intelligent. And patient," Elias nodded. "That is what makes it so dangerous. It chooses when and how to act. That makes it unstoppable." The night cycle in the Nabora sector passed. The Dauntless remained vigilant, its massive hull glowing softly. Drones patrolled, weapons aligned, and energy systems hummed. The Endeavor stayed close, documenting everything, recording every pulse and movement. Karen leaned back. The Dauntless is not just a warship. It's history alive. A guardian built to protect humanity even after humans disappeared. It is the living proof of what humans were capable of. Elias stared at the massive ship, and now we understand why the myths were never forgotten. The galaxy has underestimated humanity for centuries. The legends were warnings, and we are finally seeing why, Lena added softly. Captain, if the Alliance knew, they would send fleets. And every fleet would be destroyed. This ship alone could wipe out half of the Alliance's forces in this sector. Elias nodded. Yes, that is why we must proceed carefully. Observation first. Communication second. Any reckless action, and the consequences would be unimaginable. The Dauntless continued to patrol the nebula. Its weapons remained ready. Drones patrolled silently, and the energy in the sector shimmered with life. The myths were true. The legends of the Iron Revenants were not exaggeration. The ship was fully awake, fully capable, and fully aware. Karen whispered, "This is just the beginning." The Dauntless is fully active now. The galaxy will never be the same. It will not forgive ignorance, and it will not stop defending humanity. Elias leaned back in his chair, and we are witnesses. The first humans to see the true power of what was left behind. The galaxy may never understand until it is too late. Outside, the Dauntless drifted in the cold darkness. Its massive form gleamed under the distant stars. Drones weaved through the nebula, energy pulses hummed across the sector, and the ship waited silently. The myths were real. Humanity's guardians had awoken, and any who ignored the warnings would soon learn the truth. The Endeavor's crew watched in awe, fear, and understanding. They were standing at the edge of history, observing a force that had been sleeping for centuries. And the first real test of the Dauntless's power was only beginning. The galaxy was about to remember the legends of humanity, and no one would ever doubt them again. The Nabora sector was alive with energy. Captain Elias Morgan could feel it even inside the bridge of the Endeavor. The massive warship, the Dauntless, pulsed with power, its energy flowing through the nebula like a river of light. Every drone, every weapon, every shield system hummed with life. The crew of the Endeavor knew that they were standing at the edge of history, witnessing something that no human or alien had ever seen before. Karen Holt leaned over her console, her eyes scanning the streams of data. Captain, the Dauntless is preparing for something. I don't think it's an attack, but it is aligning every system, every weapon, every drone. It's readying itself for any eventuality. The legends didn't exaggerate. This ship is fully capable of defending itself against any force in the galaxy. Lena Brooks's voice was tense. Captain, there's a new fleet approaching, larger than the previous ones. Modern designs, fully armed and moving quickly. They've detected the Dauntless and are heading straight for it. I don't think they understand what they're about to face. Elias took a deep breath. Prepare all recording devices. Keep shields at maximum. And stay calm. We are witnessing the awakening of humanity's guardians. Nothing more. Nothing less. The approaching fleet entered the sector. Their engines flared and their weapon systems powered up. From the Endeavor's perspective, they looked confident, ready to challenge a ship they believed was a relic. But as the Dauntless rotated slowly to face them, their confidence began to falter. Karen whispered, "They have no idea. The Dauntless doesn't just fight. It thinks, adapts, and chooses when to strike. If they make a mistake, they won't survive, Lena added. Captain, the Dauntless energy output is increasing. Its shields are glowing brighter than ever. The nebula itself is reacting to the power. This is beyond anything the Alliance has ever seen. The first ship of the fleet moved forward aggressively, attempting to intimidate the ancient warship. It fired a small salvo, expecting to test defenses. The Dauntless responded immediately. A precise beam of blue energy struck the ship. It did not explode, but the shockwave threw it backward, disabling its engines and weapons instantly. The rest of the fleet froze in disbelief. Elias clenched his jaw. One ship is already neutralized. The rest are realizing too late what they are up against. Karen's eyes were wide. It didn't just destroy them. It disabled them. It's testing their abilities, their intentions. The ship is alive, and it is deciding who is a threat and who is not. The Dauntless moved deliberately, positioning itself between the fleet and the nebula. Its drones spread out, creating a barrier that blocked any further advance. Energy pulses shimmered and the massive ship's hull glowed with power. Lena whispered, "Captain, it's controlling the sector now. It's creating a zone where it can act freely, and no one can enter without its permission." This is exactly what the myths described. The Iron Revenants were unstoppable because they controlled everything around them. Elias nodded. And now we see why. It doesn't just defend itself. It defends the entire sector. Anyone who ignores its warnings will face consequences. The fleet attempted to communicate, sending messages of surrender and warning. The Dauntless allowed the messages through, but did not respond verbally. Instead, it displayed energy pulses, movements of drones, and subtle changes in its shields, a silent language that only those who understood humans could interpret. Karen whispered, "It's teaching them a lesson, not with destruction, but with demonstration. The ship is enforcing rules, boundaries, and respect." This is incredible. Hours passed. The Dauntless continued to patrol the sector. Drones sweeping the nebula, energy pulses flowing, and weapon systems ready. The approaching fleet remained frozen, unable to act recklessly. They had seen the ship's power, and they knew any aggressive action would be fatal. Lena said softly, "Captain, this is more than just a ship. It's a message. The galaxy has underestimated humans for centuries. The legends were never lies, they were warnings." Elias nodded. "And now the galaxy is learning the truth. Humanity is not gone. It has only waited, and its guardians remain." Suddenly, the Dauntless transmitted a massive stream of data directly to the Endeavor. Lena gasped as she tried to process it. "Captain!" "It's sharing everything. Fleet formations, historical records, tactics, battle strategies. Centuries of knowledge. The ship is teaching us everything humanity once knew and accomplished," Karen whispered. "It's incredible. The ship is more than a weapon. It's a repository of human history, power, and strategy. This is what the myths meant when they said humans were unstoppable. This ship carries that legacy." Elias looked out at the glowing hull of the Dauntless. "And now we understand why humanity's past was never forgotten. The legends were warnings, not exaggerations. The galaxy will remember this, whether it wants to or not." The remaining fleet, seeing the full scale of the Dauntless's power, began to retreat. The ship did not pursue aggressively, but its drones blocked escape routes strategically, forcing the fleet to retreat in an organized manner. The Dauntless's actions were precise, controlled, and intelligent. Karen said quietly, "It doesn't want to destroy. It wants to enforce, to protect, and it will only strike when provoked," Lena added. "Captain, it's teaching restraint. This is what makes it so terrifying. One wrong move and it could annihilate everything in the sector. But it doesn't. It chooses when to act, who to punish, and how." Elias nodded. "That is the true power of the Dauntless. It is not just a weapon. It is judgment, intelligence, and history all in one." As night passed in the Nabora sector, the Dauntless remained vigilant. Its massive hull rotated slowly. Drones patrolled the nebula, and energy systems hummed like a heartbeat. The Endeavor documented every pulse, every movement, and every communication. Karen whispered, "The ship is more than a reminder of humanity's past. It is a warning to the galaxy. Humans are not gone. Their guardians endure." "And the legends were right," Lena nodded. "Yes. And anyone who ignores that warning will face the consequences. The Dauntless is unstoppable, intelligent, and fully aware." Elias leaned back in his chair. "We are witnesses to history. The galaxy will never forget this encounter." And humanity, even in absence, has left a mark that no one can erase. The Dauntless continued its patrol, massive and powerful, a living relic of humanity's past. Its drones patrolled the nebula, energy pulses shimmered across the sector, and weapon systems remained at the ready. Karen whispered, "This is just the beginning. The Dauntless will continue to awaken others if there are more. The galaxy will remember the power of humanity, and no one will ever underestimate it again." Elias nodded. "And we are the first to witness it." The legends were true. Humanity's guardians have awakened, and the galaxy will never be the same. The Endeavor's crew stared at the glowing warship in awe, fear, and understanding. They had seen the true power of the Dauntless, the last of the Iron Revenants, and they knew that the galaxy had been forever changed. The myths were real. Humanity's guardians had awakened, and the universe would never doubt them again.